The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, directed by Tatsuya Ishihara. So the movie starts out with Kyon waking up on the cold day of December 16th, and Kyon starts his usual internal monologue. Kyon's like, man, ever since the cultural festival ended, the weather's been colder than a white guy at a thrift store. Christmas time is rolling around the corner, like the rise of gay rap led by Lil Wayne and the Bootylicious crew. On the next day, December 17th, Haruhi decides to plan a party for Christmas, and as usual, Kyon, Koizumi, Asahina, and Nagato are forced into her schemes. Kyon's like, hey yo, we be out of that tinsel. Haruhi's like, just pick that Jane up on your way home, playboy. For rizzle, for shizzle. So Kyon begrudgingly picks up the tinsel and ends his day. The next day of December 18th, Kyon goes to school like he normally does, but something seems off. There seems to be a cold epidemic. The tinsel that he bought is gone, Haruhi isn't at school, and on top of all that, Ryoko Asakura, the girl that tried to kill him in the first season, is back. Oh shit! Kyon then finds out that no one knows who Haruhi is at all, and Koizumi's entire classroom is gone. Kyon's like, hey yo man, something ain't right about this right here. Just when Kyon's about to give up, he sees Asahina, who talks in jive now. Kyon goes up to her, and Asahina is like, ain't no cornbread docking on the sweet boppity right here. Kyon is then at his wit's end, so he decides to go to the club room. Nagato is there, but she's completely different. Homegirl actually has emotions in Jane. Kyon then checks the computer for anything related to his past in the SOS Brigade, but he finds nothing. After he's finished, Nagato then gives Kyon a club form to fill out. He takes it and goes home. The next day of December 19th, Kyon spends his day in this odd world without the people he cares about in his life. Ryoko Asakura is like, what's popping off on Flake and Flip and Flu? Kyon's like, don't talk to me you thirsty thought, I still remember what you done did to me. Later that day, he instinctively goes to the club room to find Nagato chilling by the window, so he sits in there with her. Kyon remembers the book given to him in the past, and he finds a bookmark that reads, Program Run, Condition, Collect Keys. Deadline 2 days. He isn't able to find out what it means just then, but he finds hope that he might be able to fix all this like peanut butter on a chimpanzee. Later on, Nagato invites Kyon to her apartment and tells him about when she met him in the library when he helped her get a library card, but in that version, Haruhi doesn't exist at all. Just then, goddamn Ryoko shows up, and Kyon is forced to have an awkward dinner with the both of them. And after the awkward ass dinner, Kyon asks Nagato if he can come to the club room again. She says sure enough, and Kyon goes home and ends his day. The next day at school, December 20th, Taniguchi asks Kyon for some help on some of that chemistry. Kyon refers his homeboy to Kunikata, and while they're talking, Taniguchi brings up Haruhi. Taniguchi's like, I remember that one girl you were talking about from middle school. Kyon's like, what did you just say, rubber lips? Taniguchi's like, yeah, how could I forget that girl? She was more obvious to spot than Obama riding on Oprah's jive talking unicorn. Kyon then learns that she's at an elite high school called Kyohyun Academy, and with this new information, he heads out to finally see Haruhi. After waiting outside the school, Kyon confronts Haruhi and Koizumi and asks if they know anything about him, which they obviously say they don't. Haruhi's just about to leave when Kyon brings up what happened 3 years ago, where she snuck into North High, drew symbols, and said, I am here. Haruhi goes up to Kyon and is like, what your name be, player? Kyon's like, it be John Smith. This convinces Haruhi and gives Kyon realization of the connection that he needed, so they all go to a coffee shop to discuss what be happening. Koizumi's like, alright my making moot, we got two parallel worlds right here. You could have been taken out of your world, or your own world could have been changed. In any case, we need to get your ass back to your own world because I don't like the way Haruhi's looking at you right now. In lieu of that, they all go back to North High and gather up all the club members to the club room. Haruhi then starts to revert back to her old self and starts to make plans to actually make the SOS Brigade again, and suddenly the computer turns on. Kyon reads the messages sent by Nagato on the computer screen and sends them back to 3 years ago of the Tanabata festival. There, he sees the older Asahina, who is a time traveler from the first episode back in season 2, and she still talks and jive. Kyon walks up to her and Asahina's like, "Sneak on her on a banky day." They go back to the park and Kyon's like, "Who was responsible for this? I bet it was Haruhi." Asahina's like, "Haruhi ain't flying, man. She's just a shadow lay on a bottom up. The chicken always know how to do the shakedown." Kyon's like, "I have no idea what you just said, but I guess I see Nagato to figure out what's up." Before they go to Nagato, Kyon brings everything full circle and says that he's John Smith to the younger Haruhi. They go to Nagato's place and they explain the situation. Nagato calculates the problem and creates a solution. They need to go back to North High on the morning of December 18th and inject a program to their target to fix everything. Their target turns out to be Nagato herself, who did this to give Kyon a choice to choose a normal life. Kyon decides he doesn't want a normal life. He wants a life where it is actually fun, and there is even more mystery to life than what he sees now. With his decision firm in his heart, he walks up to the now human Nagato and prepares to change the world to back to what it originally was. And then he said, "Damn!" Kyon gets stabbed by Ryoko, the protector of Nagato, which means if this Nagato leaves, she leaves also, and she can't let that happen. Kyon starts to pass out as familiar figures appear over him. Then he wakes up in a hospital with Haruhi sleeping next to him. Kyon realizes that he goes back in time and saves himself, but the Christmas party is happening, so he says, "Fuck it, I'll do it later." And with the world back to its original state, Kyon opens the door to the SOS Brigade club room and to his original life. The end.